Hello, I'm Richard Hooper and this is SAT TV Week. Now I'm pleased to be joined by Adil of ScopeTel. Adil, this is the first time that you've joined us, but you're involved in VSAT services for the oil and gas industry. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, ScopeTel, we've actually been in a business providing VSAT for the past 20 years. We are a Malaysian-based company, fully licensed, and most of our business comes from the oil and gas industry sector, mainly in the upstream oil and gas, talking about exploration, drilling, platforms, those kind of things. So we are heavily involved in that. But on top of that, we also do some other sectors, public sectors and so corporation. But still, I would say a lot of our business comes from the oil and gas.
Now, VSAT networks and systems are used very heavily by the oil and gas sector, but why?
Okay, mainly, as you know, for Southeast Asia especially, most of the oil and gas fields are located offshore, and some of them are extremely far. There's no other mode of communication available, whether it's microwave or anything like that, that can provide the reach to go to these far locations. So VSAT is the only, we'll say, viable communication mode of services that's available for the oil and gas to use. So that's the main thing why they use VSAT.
Now, a few years ago, people used to say that the cost of VSAT, it was very expensive, but that's not the case anymore, is it?
Okay, there's two things about it. I think one factor that actually drove the price down is competition, obviously. But when it comes to VSAT, especially for the oil and gas industry, as you know, 2 years ago, or say 3 years ago, the oil and gas industry went through a downturn. I think everybody who was involved in the oil and gas upstream industry was heavily impacted. So all our customers are looking at cutting down costs, okay? But at the same time, they are looking to make sure that people like us, who are their service providers, maintain the same kind of quality that we used to provide. So the challenge for people like ScopeTel, in fact, even our other players in the market right now, is trying to find ways to cut down the cost of our services, but at the same time trying to maintain the same level of quality that we used to provide. So that's the main challenge that we have right now. So competition, and the one of the factor is by our clients itself. They just want us to reduce the cost. So
now in Asia, which particular countries are you concentrating on?
Currently for ScopeTel, most of our business comes in Malaysia, but we have some projects in Myanmar right now. We have done projects recently in Philippines. We have done in Australia, and in fact, a couple of years ago, we have even have some projects in Africa. So,
you talk about Africa. Just a quick question on that: is it still the up-and-coming area that people want to target?
Okay, when ScopeTel did a project in Africa a couple of years ago, we were actually tagging along with the oil and gas industry. We had a particular client, was a nation-based company who happened to operate in Africa, so we tagged along. But over the years, what we found out was that when we first started off in Africa, some of these countries like Sudan, Ethiopia, Niger, they don't have the expertise back then to do the visa on their own. So obviously, people like these companies from Malaysia going there, they had to bring somebody locally who had the expertise to provide the visa services. But what I would say, over the years, even in Africa right now, there are a lot of people who have the expertise in VSAT. So I would say for ScopeTel right now, our main focus will still pretty much, we will just be on Southeast Asia, mainly within this region. I think Africa, one thing about ScopeTel now, I think if you may or may not know, we are not part of North Telecom Group. So North Telecom Group is a global VSAT service provider, and they have a lot of businesses in Africa, partners in Africa. So for ScopeTel being part of North Telecom Group, I think our focus mainly will be now more on Asia. Maybe in the future, I don't know, maybe we'll look into globally again, but right now there's still a lot of opportunities over here in Asia alone.
Adil, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Richard.